2026 is going to be an awesome year. We got some pretty cool stuff coming up. First off, we got Foundations of Recovery. This is our flagship program. We're starting it in January.
This is for anyone, man, woman, or couple who wants to come and reclaim their heart from shame, trauma, and betrayal. We start off with an education on all sorts of principles, give you the common language. We feed you from a fire hose in terms of all things recovery.
It is such a great start to recovery. And we get at the roots of things, Tyler. This isn't like any other program. Like, this is our healing journey in process, and Foundations is where we begin.
If you look at the value that you're getting there to kick off a good recovery with all of the right education, all of the right language, and a team to get you started while also being directed by Brannon and myself through the whole process, what a deal.
So if you're interested, if you're struggling, if you've been wanting to do something for a long time, jump into this. This only comes around every so often, and we would love to have you there.
Click the link in the description to sign up for it. And to make it even sweeter, we're also including a raffle for a free pass to the Radiant Dawn retreat. Anyone who signs up for Foundations will be added to the raffle for that free Radiant Dawn pass. If you're a man and you sign up for Foundations, your name still gets entered, and you can give that pass away if you win it to any woman that you want to.
So what you're saying, Tyler, is if you sign up and participate in Foundations, you could possibly go to Radiant Dawn for free?
That's exactly what I'm saying, which is crazy because Foundations by itself is already an insane value.
Man, I sound so salesy. But it actually is awesome. So come to Foundations. And even if you don't come to Foundations, sign up for Radiant Dawn. It's beyond therapy, the best healing experiences that you can have.
Click the link below and come join us.
We're a couple that's stuck. Help us.
Welcome to the Real Talk Recovery Podcast with the Therapy Brothers.
We're brothers, we're therapists, and we know recovery.
Bring your stories, your questions, your successes with real recovery.
Brannon, we sent out a call of action a few episodes ago for couples who are wanting help, and we've got one today. So I'm excited to get to that in a minute. How are you?
Oh man, I can barely talk.
I know. You can hear it like raspy in your voice right now.
One thing I want to say is just God is good. Isn't God good? Like after this weekend, holy cow. Like yesterday morning, where were we yesterday morning?
Yesterday morning, we were on the top of a mountain watching the sunrise over Bear Lake, Utah with 40 of the most courageous men that I've ever spent any time with. And it was freaking awesome.
Oh my gosh. Just I got the chills right now. Just the feeling of God and the healthy masculinity and the beauty of nature. And you can't put it into words.
Yeah. No words that we could speak would actually would give it adequate feeling to what it really was this weekend. It was awesome.
I'm just humbled,
Yeah.
So that's kind of where my heart's at this morning. It's probably in a good place to dive in with Dave and Janel here. So, Dave, Janel, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you.
If you guys could give us a little bit of context, a little bit of background as to what's going on with you, and hopefully we can help you get unstuck a little bit today.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, we've been married 25 years this coming January. We have 5 kids.
Okay.
I knew about Dave's pornography and masturbation before we got married. But I just thought, we'd get married and it would be fixed. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of always the person that when we were dating, I'd say, I want to know what our issues are going to be, because I don't think a piece of paper is going to make it all go away. And he was like, can't we just enjoy like this time? And I was like, no, we need to know what's going on. So year 3, we had 2 kids, 2 under 2, and we started therapy. We were in therapy for 8 years till that therapist retired. You name it, we've done it. We've groups, ARP, 12-step, individual groups, trauma work, individual therapy, couples therapy, read books, listen to podcasts, energy work, all the things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what we continually find is our situation, I don't want to say our situation's unique, but it's a little different and doesn't quite fit into a lot of the templates that are out there for sexual addiction. So it gets frustrating. And as of lately, now that the area of sexual addiction, pornography addiction, that's becoming bigger. Back 25 years ago, there wasn't a whole lot.
Yeah.
I mean, we went to an ARP group up at one of the universities, and it was maybe 6 women in the women's group, and there were 2 groups of 30 for the men. And it ranged from same-sex attraction across the board to infidelity. But it wasn't, Dave is more of a sexual anorexic, and we didn't get that diagnosis until probably about 6 years ago. And then finding therapists that specialize in that, it makes it a little bit more difficult. So he'll get into therapy with a new therapist, and he's got he's got a really intense backstory. He was adopted at 2.5, and it seems like the therapists get really involved with that. And it's always like, well, just wait. We'll get to the part where your we'll bring your relationship into it. We've got to work on this stuff first. So I'm working a program, which I didn't do for years. I had a philosophy where I thought, if you make him better, things will get better.
Okay.
Quickly learned that's not how that works. I have to do my own work. And so we're both working our own programs, but the relationship piece isn't getting better. The shame is like crippling. And it's like the more we dig, the worse the shame gets for Dave. And so we get stuck, and he gets discouraged. I get discouraged, and it just seems like we go to our own corners, and there's no healing of the relationship while we're doing individual healing. So is there a question in that? I don't know.
Let me ask Dave just a question. Is that pretty accurate? Would you add any other context or other thoughts to that, Dave?
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. I don't feel as motivated in relationships by having sex or having that be a part of it. I'm sure through some of the work I've done, there's some trauma that I don't know about, or some abuse that probably happened. I have a lot of, like she said, abandonment issues that do come up, and a lot of anger and disconnection. So when she says she feels a certain way, I don't necessarily feel that, but I also don't feel anything else either. So it's my empathy is not the best.
Mm-hmm. And it sounds like, Janelle, one of the words you said in there that I think is probably something we're going to end up talking a lot about today is that shame. You use the word shame and shame resiliency, that it's really hard. It's really hard to have empathy or show empathy in a relationship if shame happens to be in the driver's seat at the time.
I've been saying a lot more recently, I'm like, so all roads lead to shame for you.
Mm-hmm.
So like I can say something like, hey, where'd you get this shirt? And I'll watch his face and I go, wait, are you feeling shame about the question I just asked you? And he's like, yep. So it's like, it's hard to have a conversation when anything that is spoken about, it kind of goes into that space, and I can see him get, what was the word you used? The shame
spiral.
Yeah. Shame spiral, the shame screen.
Mm-hmm.
He's shame screening all the time when we try to have deeper conversations. And so the surface stuff is kind of where we stay a lot. And that's not what I want anymore.
It's interesting when we talk about Dave's shame, it'll probably trigger Dave's shame.
I was just going to say, Dave, your body language tells me you might be feeling it right now.
Right. The fact that we're here and we have a camera on and we're using our name. That's why I was like, you lead out in that. I'm not going to make you do anything you don't.
Before we go there and just say, okay, the problem here is Dave's shame. Like the problem here is if he could hang in there and not be triggered all the time into shame. And I'm not saying that's not a problem. But I also want to back up a little bit and say, is that the only problem? Is there other things in the relationship that are undermining intimacy and connection? beyond just Dave's shame?
I think there's obviously stuff that comes up. Like I say, I'm quick to just not feel it. And so something, if for instance, if something is bugging me, I will usually get angry or defensive.
So you're not communicating well.
No, I'm not a great communicator. No.
Okay.
And I usually focus it when I am listening. I usually focus it on how it impacts me.
Like any feedback that comes to you is always about you.
Right.
Taking it personally, taking her feelings and pain personally.
Right.
So like I realize, I'm like honesty. Well, in this last couple of weeks, I'm like, we need to have a boundary conversation. So let's get clear about our core values. And I've written some down and he's like, I don't know how to do this. I can't do this. I'm like, well, let's just start with a list. And he's having a struggle just zoning in on what are core values. And I'm like, okay, so it stops the communication. And it's always like, I'm having a hard time doing that. And then do we revisit it? If I try to bring it up, and I've gotten to the point where I'm like, I don't want to initiate this anymore. I've been doing this for 25 years. If I'm pushing couples work, if I'm pushing any of that stuff, it'll go through. He's very compliant. He'll do whatever he's told to do. But as far as taking an initiation for himself, it doesn't really happen. So once I got out of the driver's seat and said, I'm not driving this anymore, I'm not going to push this anymore, nothing happens. And he's just kind of content. He would be content with us just being roommates. Well, this isn't truth. This is my story.
How you feel.
That's a story you tell yourself.
The story I tell myself is he would be content with us just being roommates, living our life with each other. Because I'd be like, there's a difference between you choosing me and you wanting to just be around me. And he'll usually say that, I just want to be around you. And I'm like, well, I'd like to be chosen, but.
You desire intimacy.
Connection.
Not just partnership, but intimacy, connection. And in some ways, just partnership is safe. Yeah. And so you can kind of live your parallel lives that way and not take the risks that intimacy requires. Right. Is that, Dave, is that true? How does that feel to you?
Yeah, a lot of it is, I feel like there'll come a point where I won't be able to maintain that trust or intimacy or connection or whatever like that. That I'll just be like, either it's too much or I don't want to feel whatever I'm feeling, so I'm just going to check out, which will hurt her, and I'm the bad guy. Yeah. I'm incapable of maintaining that because I maybe don't get the same feeling or satisfaction out of it.
It's almost like you would rather hedge your bets and stay at roommate status than to risk stepping into the practice of empathy or in, deeper intimacy or deeper trust, because you can't sustain it long time. And it sounds like unless you think you can be perfect at it forever, the pain that you think you'll cause isn't worth the goodness that can come from the practice. Yeah. Is that what you're saying?
I don't have the experience that is always good to feel like that. I guess I don't trust the way I feel anyway. Mm-hmm. So to put myself in a place where I'm feeling and it's impacting somebody else, and for whatever, I don't know why, but sometimes I don't feel like feeling, or I don't want to feel, or I actually fight against it. That would leave her feeling one way and I'm not there. So I just come in and leave, pop in, pop out, which I do anyway, but it would be more intentional, I guess, if I felt like I was trying to be empathetic. I would intentionally feel like I'm trying to connect with her, getting in and intimate and close, and then being like, I'm out. And I think that would be harder for her and then eventually me than just being, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't like the way this feels, so I'm just popping out right
Which
now.
I'd prefer that. I wish he would just say, this is getting really hard for me and I need a break. And I'd be like, awesome. It's the lack of being able to just say where he's at.
Yeah.
I'm afraid that I can't maintain this. And instead he just kind of will slide out. And then I'm like, well, and he's gone. And then the second I'm like, hey, what's going on? Shame.
Yep.
Nothing. I'm good. Why? And then gaslighting.
Right.
So I think for both of us, now that I'm more aware of my trauma, the trauma I have and the triggers I have, I just disengage now instead of trying to engage him. I'll just say, I need to take a moment. I've got to go center myself, connect with God, connect with myself, do some self-care, and put myself into a place where I feel safe. And as I've started doing that more, the disconnect in our relationship has gotten wider. So it's like the healthier I feel like I'm getting, the worse our relationship's getting.
Yeah, there's that void there.
Yes.
Still.
You're no longer filling the gap the way you've tried to fill the gap in the past. And so it feels deeper and worse.
More lonely. It's interesting. We keep coming back to Dave's shame. No matter what we do, it comes back to that. And the real question is, we just got back from this men's retreat and we had 40 men there, who were talking a lot about how they disconnect from God, from their wives, from themselves, and how they've disconnected for a long, long time. And these men are busted open right now. They're on fire and they're connected to each other. They're connected to God. Here's the question back to you, Dave. The issue's not the shame. What's underneath the shame?
Fear. Self-worth.
Yeah.
Because we've experienced that. Like he's gone to Warrior Heart retreats, not trying to plug that because I know you guys are great.
I love Warrior Heart. I've been there. So.
And when he came back, different man. But it's sustained for maybe 2 weeks.
Okay, different man in what way?
He was just wide open and just like vulnerable and connected with God and wanted to connect. And he just felt like, I don't know, just healthy masculinity, just like a man, like humble, but peace-driven and just love and just wide open. It was like, I remember I was like, I don't know who that was that came home, but that was awesome.
Dave, do you hear her, Dave?
Mm-hmm.
You hear? What happened?
I have no idea. Because for me, it doesn't feel as dramatically different now than it did then. For internally, for me, like she can see a big difference. For me, it's like I
like this all the time.
I enjoy myself up there. I'm doing some of the same things that I was doing then. I don't know why they don't feel the same, or I'm not getting the same results, but
he literally, that's the thing is like, I'll be like, you're like, this connection's awesome. Do you feel how this feels right now? And he'll be like, yeah. And then when he's disconnected, I'll be like, do you feel this? Yeah. And in his brain, he thinks it feels the same. He doesn't know what he's done. So he thinks it's me that's switching. He'll go, you're just mad at me, or I triggered you, or I think I've hurt you a lot. And now he thinks it's me that's switching. And I'm like, maybe. Then I get in my head and I'm like, is it me?
Janelle, so this is an interesting, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole too far, but Dave, do you realize it's Janelle's job to switch? So what I mean is, Janelle, it's your job to be up, be down, to cycle, to be different, and to not be consistent. That's your job as the feminine, as a woman. It's right. And so if you come home from Warrior Heart and it's like, man, Janelle is like loving me and seeing me as the man that I am, And then all of a sudden she has a bad week or something happens, and all of that good stuff that you felt at Warrior Heart starts to go away because your codependency to her starts to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And, at Warrior Heart, John Eldredge talks about one of the biggest problems is that men use their wives for their self-worth. They consume their wife. Mm-hmm. And their wife is the thing that ultimately dictates whether or not they're man enough or not.
Mm-hmm.
And so up at Warrior Heart, you're with a bunch of men and you're connecting to God. And it's like, man, I'm solid as I am. Get home, have some rough patches in the marriage, and it reverts back to those old narratives that have been dominating you for most of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's manifesting in a different way though. And for David, Janel, where it sounds like, Dave, your way of self-protection isn't to go and like over pursue and try to make your wife happy all the time. Your way of trying to keep her happy is by actually blunting everything and saying,
fading away.
If I just keep it level here, we don't rock the boat. We don't have to worry about anything going wrong. And then I don't have to feel as bad about myself. And I also don't have to hurt her. I hate hurting her.
Right.
And so in a certain way, it's the same. It's got the same underpinnings. It's just that the coping is a little bit different than the overperformance that a lot of men will do to try to make their wives happy all the time. It's like your defense is actually, whoa, level this down,
which is quite common, actually.
Yeah, I actually think it's really common.
And then externally, like he has his band of brothers. He has his group of guys. They go and they do stuff together. And I see he doesn't agree with this. The story I tell myself is that I see him making this effort. He goes out, they go on motorcycle. He bought a motorcycle for Mother's Day. It's fine. And he goes on these motorcycle trips with these guys. They get together, they do a bunch of stuff together. He's texting on these text threads, and he's this solid guy. He has this great performance. And he doesn't think it's a performance, but I watch it and I go, you are this amazing guy for everybody but me and your kids. And he thinks he'll show up sometimes in that performance, like, oh, here, I brought you this drink. It's never in with his time and the connecting, because the connecting is just frightening for him. I mean, that's in the conversations we'll have when I say, I'm like, is this nice for you? And he's, no, it's too much. He'll always say, it's like, it just got to be too much. Like we do check-ins, it was too much. And not like check-ins like, how are you doing on sobriety? It was like, how are you feeling? Give me 3 feelings you felt today. And we do the Doug Weiss has like this intimacy check. We tried that. We did it for, I think, 3 weeks. And then it just stopped because he's supposed to initiate the check-ins. And I was like, what happened? And he was like, it just got to be too much. It felt too much. I was feeling too much.
So that's not. Oh, go ahead, Tyler, please.
Go ahead, Brannon.
No, I want you to go.
Oh, I'm just wondering, Dave, is there a difference in the way that you trust your brothers versus the way you trust your wife?
I don't know if I would say trust is what I would use. I don't have the same trauma with them. So it's not so much, if I say something, if I have an opinion or give something of advice, it's not met with, well, that's a performance, or that's that's not the truth. That's not how I see it. Or that doesn't make any sense why you would say that, but you act this way.
Yeah. I wondered that, Dave, where when you hear your wife say that you're just in performance mode, my thought was maybe you're less in performance mode when you're with your band of brothers and you're feeling safe and can be authentic and show up in the ways you do, where you're calling and texting and showing connection. But there's something about the relationship itself with your wife, whether it's how much skin you guys have in the game together, or how much pain you caused her in the past, or how much she's tried to do to make sure that you're going to step out and like step into like being intimate with her or whatever else. That's why I use the word trust is that I don't know if that is the right word, but I wonder if it's easier to like, I'm just sitting here like thinking of what happened at the retreat this weekend with us and watching so many of these men finally open up and share real emotions and share real experience and share their opinions and not feel like they were going to be judged or ridiculed or criticized. And yet I talked to several of them one night and they're all afraid to go home and actually have the same kind of interactions with their wives because there seems to be more consequence there.
And I think part of it's a little bit of the expectation, right? Of nobody expects me to do or say anything. There's no,
you can just be you.
Right. If I don't say anything, that's okay. If I talk all night, that's okay. And it's not a reflection on how I'm feeling towards them, if that makes sense.
Dave, I actually think that the issue here, in a lot of ways, is about you not being boundaried enough with Janelle. And so this isn't just about you sitting in empathy and you coming on to her or being romantic. It's not that. You're Mr. Nice Guy and you're very codependent with her and scared to death of her. And, Tyler, it's interesting what you were saying. Like, I have this advanced men's recovery group and we do all these courageous things and so I wanted to do a courageous thing and I wanted to invite everybody's wife to group. And they looked at me like, what? We can't do that. But what? Like the scariest thing on earth is their wife.
Yeah.
And because their wife holds so much power.
At least in their mind, the way they tell themselves the story.
Right. Dave, how do you can you give me an example of a healthy boundary you've had with Janelle?
No.
Okay.
And Janelle laughs.
And Janelle, your wife, I just met Janelle and I'm going to talk about her with her right here with us. She wants to learn. She wants to grow. She wants to do work. But she's a lot. She's intense. She's wanting this, right? And that's a good thing. You have a spouse who's wanting to grow together and wanting to do this work. And you're showing up with no masculinity. You're showing up with, I'll fade away or I'll comply. I'll do those two things to deal with her, right? And the answer to her question of is my husband strong? Can my husband handle this? The answer to that question is absolutely not. So what would a healthy boundary look like with her? And then the real question is, what is underneath, like the reason why you aren't showing up honest and boundaried with her?
You might not agree with what Brannon said, so you might run that through your own filter first, but.
Right. No, I think she's, and the way I describe it is she's very capable of doing and learning and communicating and all the things that I think she's really good at. I don't think I add to that. So I'm not more understanding of something that she's learning or better able to talk about how I feel about that or agree with how I feel. And so in a moment of, if she says something and I say something, I'm probably going to think hers is better and more. And if it's a thing where we have to make a decision, I'm probably going to doubt myself and go with hers, whatever she's doing, whether I know what it is or not, because I know she is, I know she's that way and has thought about it and put some effort into it where I probably, it's the first time I'm even thinking about it.
Dave, long before you met Janelle,
Mhm.
what did your wounds or wound tell you about who you are?
That I was, I wasn't worth any. I wasn't worth a lot. And that people leave.
And a lot of expectation.
Right.
He's an only child, and he was superstar in high school, student body president, got scholarships, like performed like his parents.
Performance-based
Mhm.
love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I also enjoyed that. It wasn't like I was going, oh, I'm getting up today to be that person and then come home and take it off.
But Dave, do you see, like, we just conceptualize the problem there. Like you can so see it.
Mhm.
People are going to leave me. I'm not worth it. And oh, by the way, I'm going to perform for my worth.
Right.
So here you are in a marriage, 25 years into a marriage, and you can totally see why you're doing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So lies are dictating your behaviors. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But they're lies that you really believe are true.
Right.
Yeah. How I'm wondering, like, one of those lies I think is that you're going to be abandoned or rejected. You've been with your wife for 25 years.
Right.
Do you still live every day with some kind of gnawing feeling inside that she's going to leave you, or that she'll figure you out, or that you don't deserve to be with her?
Yeah, and we've talked about that before, and she, reassures me that that's not going to happen.
I think we take it a day at a time now.
Right. But there are some times where I'm like this, that's it, where she's on the verge of figuring it out, and I'm hurting her too much, and it's too much. So it would be better if she just was able to go on her own, and just I would kind of support where I could.
It's almost like in 25 years, I imagine that it could be seen from a different lens. And I'm not saying this is right, but that maybe subconsciously you've been working towards pushing the limits with her to see how much she'll put up with before she rejects you.
Right.
Just because you're at the core feel rejectable.
Mm-hmm.
And if she's staying, there's something wrong. Like, she's the anomaly in the situation.
She's fighting like hell for you.
Right.
Even though you're trying to sabotage slowly. It's like,
well, and it's frustrating because when we go into groups that we think it's like to have the group support piece, because I think individual therapy plus group support, that's been really key in helping things, I think, start to heal in some places. But the hard part is the groups that we show up in and that are there for the support. He's a superstar because he's got sobriety down better than anybody in that group. And I'm like, okay, but that's the issue in our relationship. I'm like, you can go on a sex fast for 6 months.
The performance-based, just strong man, do
and
what
so,
you need
like,
to do.
Amongst his band of brothers who have all like struggled with infidelity and lusting after women and all this stuff, Dave's the champ. He doesn't do that.
Yeah.
That doesn't even cross his mind. There's no space for that. So it's like, I go, but that kills our relationship. And I'm like, and so here's the thing, like I over controlled. I did a lot of that all in the first part of our marriage. And it gets frustrating because when we go in and we speak to like his therapist or even my therapist, it's his therapist will be like, yeah, and Janelle, you're gonna have to let go of more control of that. And I'm like, dude, I'm doing nothing anymore. I've given him the money. I'm not telling him what to do. I'm not saying you have to do this, you have to do that, or I'm leaving. I don't do that anymore. I have relinquished what I think is a lot of control to the point that he sometimes gets frustrated. He's like, well, what do you think I should do? And I'm like,
You're a grown ass man to make your own choices.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's like, the more I've let go of that, it's not getting better. It feels like we've done more work than we've ever done. And we're in a worse place than we were before.
Yeah. Yep. It's just kind of shifted to different unhealthy behaviors.
Mhm.
Dave, I want to talk to you about you almost need to do some things that are going to feel like they're backwards and cause problems. So, for example, let's say Janelle comes to you and says, "Hey, I want to check in, and there's some things I want to talk to you about, and some feelings that I've been having." And you're in this place of like, "It's too much for me. I can't handle this right now. I don't want to do that." Okay. What's the healthy thing to do?
To sit in it and listen to what she has to say.
Nope. Fail. Like, okay.
Tell her, sorry, I'm out.
No.
No.
Right.
Any of the shame screens, no.
Yeah. So, and this is going to trigger Janelle. Janelle, this will be hard for you, but it's your job to be honest with her and vulnerable. So in that moment, you're feeling, this is too much for me. This is overwhelming. Okay. It's your job to do two things: to be honest with her, and it's your job to fight for her heart. So it feels like they contradict.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the healthy thing to do here?
Obviously there needs to be attachment and a show to your wife that you're committed to her and that you want to hear her, but that right now is not the time. So you need to be honest with yourself first and say, "Hey, I realize that you really want to talk about these things. I'm not in the right spot to do it right now. Let me get my feet under me and I'll check back in with you when I'm ready." So now there's two things. There's the boundary that I'm setting for myself, and my wife might not like that, especially if she has some anxious attachment. But I need to do my
self-care, right?
I'm also going to go do some self-care, and I'm not going to just like shove her away and then be like, "Oh, good, I dodged that bullet till tomorrow," or whatever. It's like, no, I'm going to go actually intentionally do my work with the right kind of a group that's more than just sobriety based, and go, okay, what do I need to do to get myself geared up? You know, we had this one event that we had at our retreat that was kind of like designed specifically to push guys into pain physically. And we had this thing where it's like, you can sit there on the sideline and maybe dip your toe in it for a while, but eventually you've got to go out. It was a rope swing. And eventually you got to go out. And once you're out there, you can't come back because you'll hit the rocks. So you're going to have to drop off into the lake. And in a sense, that's what you need is you take your time out and you go get your feet grounded again. You talk to your team, and then you come back in.
But Tyler, I got to interject. In the meantime, if Janelle's just totally triggered and, you know, she's like, "Well, he failed me again." I
have my stuff I can go to.
Exactly.
Yes,
and Dave, you need to be okay.
It needs to be okay that she does that.
Thinking that you're failing her, thinking that you're not showing up. And so it's paradoxical because you absolutely need to be okay with that in order to be strong enough to go do your own work. And then Tyler, you're getting to what happens next.
Yeah. Which is then when you go and you get your team. So that's why the team is so important here is that, yeah, Janelle, you will be upset. Probably you go do your work or you don't. Either way, Dave, you know the reason why you're doing your work. I don't have the emotional bandwidth right now, but I also can't go disappear forever. So I'm going to go get my feet planted. I'm going to come back to her and I'm going to step back in and say, "Hey, you wanted to talk about that thing. I'm here now."
And she's going to be,
that's the part that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I was going to say, she's going to be triggered into thinking, "Oh, he's not going to come back."
He won't talk about it. Because like when he got his motorcycle, it was like such a great way for him to ground back in his body. He could feel, he'd get present, he'd go talk, and then he'd come back and then never readdress it.
Yeah.
So now it's just become a new escape. So like he leaves, he'll be like, "I'm going to go ride my bike," and he's gone. And then he never comes back and re-engages. And so I'm like, well, you've just found a new escape.
That's right. There needs to at least just be a touch point. It's like both people in a relationship really have a question. It's like, are you there for me? And once in a while, we just need to be reminded that, yes, I might be taking some space or something. Or, you know, my wife used to use my middle name. She'd say, "Dean, I love you, but I don't like you right now." That's her way of saying, "I see you and we're not going to talk right now." You know, like that's okay. Like that's fine. But there's still a touch point of like, okay, this isn't a divorce. This isn't rejection. This is just two people not quite lining up emotionally right now. And we're going to need to go figure out how to get that to happen. And that'll be the hardest part for you, Dave, I think, is the actual coming back and the touch point.
Well, that we'll call it the fade away. That fade away happens because it requires you facing your deepest fears to come back and say, hey, I want to talk. And so it's good for you to know that you can be boundary, Dave, that you can say, whoa, right now, and be vulnerable with it. Hey, I'm triggered. This is scary for me. Can I take half the day, and tonight I'll check in with you and I want to talk to you about this thing. And then you got to go do that. You got to come back. And those feelings of I'm not worthy, this is too much. You got to face those things in order to actually come back and do that. Right. Dave, were you going to say something?
Yeah. So that's my intention when I go, and then when I come back, it's most of the time I can say I'm ready to listen, but I'm not. So then I'm being dishonest. I'm like, I'm ready to hear what you have to say. And then she starts, I'm like, oh, I'm out. I got to go do something again. I'm not really ready. Sorry. And then I don't ever feel like I'm ever ready. So.
What's step 3? Do you know step 3 of the 12 steps?
Surrender.
All of it.
It's turn your will and your life over to the care of Janelle. I don't want that, do you, Janelle? No,
I love the look on Dave's face while you just said that, Brannon.
Yeah. That's not what it is it?
That's great. I will do that. She can have it all.
Yeah. That's what you are doing.
That's what you're doing. You're turning it over to her to give you your answers, to tell you you're okay. And so because she holds so much weight, you're terrified of her. And the work here really has to do with your work. It's that you've been a warrior heart. Eldridge talks about initiation. It really is daily initiation and understanding of who you are between you and God, healing that wound of abandonment, of those childhood wounds, knowing that God is so different than that, and knowing that every single day, so that when you show up with Janelle, you have the fortitude to say, I'm okay. I know I'm okay. As pissed off as she gets, or as disappointed as she gets, or as emotional as she gets, I'm okay enough to sit with her in this emotion and resonate in this pain with her right now, because underneath it, I have that strength. That's what has to happen. That's what's required. And so you've done a lot of work, Dave, but you haven't done enough. There's something missing there to trust God, to trust and know who you really are. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and that comes and goes. Like sometimes I feel like I'm doing really good, and other times I'm like, I don't know any of this stuff. So those are usually the times that we aren't getting along.
Well, what do you do to connect to God every day? To know that you're loved?
Most of the time it's pray and podcasts, and I do a lot of just studying different things that are interesting to me.
Okay. And you might have to add stuff that not just do the things you should, like, oh, I should pray and I should listen to the podcast. Maybe you need to wander in nature every day. I don't know. Maybe you got to ride your motorcycle daily until you feel God's love. It's like, man, I felt it when I went up that canyon, and I can go home now. I'm ready. I'm ready to step into my masculinity. I'm ready to fight for my wife. Let's do this. But you do something every day that you're good between God, so that you're ready to show up in your marriage. Right.
I suspect that's probably what happened, that you didn't even realize when you went to your last retreat and you come home and your wife's like, oh, this is so refreshing. I've got this man who's like stepping in and showing up. And you're like, I don't notice any difference, but that maybe perhaps you were in contact with a deeper understanding of yourself in God's eyes. And as a result, the energy that was coming off was different, even though it might have looked the same to you.
Right.
And that's what Brannon's getting at is that more than any of the checkbox things is probably the most important thing you could be doing for the sake of your marriage, is to go on a quest to have your heart cultivated every single day.
I do want to say one thing. We're running low on time, and Janelle, I want to say to you, it's frustrating and lonely and hard where you've been. And I think you can get caught up in a cycle where you constantly want to remind him of how he's failing you, of, oh, there you go again. You're not going to come back. You're not going to, and he'll feel from you constant disappointment, and for good reason. You are disappointed, right? Mm-hmm. But if you could shift that to really like trying to have, I know you've probably done this, but trying to have compassion for his fear, for why he does what he does.
I think we're still here because of the level of compassion.
Good.
I think we spend a lot of time. I have such a deep like empathy and compassion for what he has been able to survive and thrive. I think if I were to never bring up anything, we'd be fine. That's what it's like, because he'll reapproach me and come in and he'll leave something that we haven't talked about, or that he stops in the middle of talking about, and then he comes back in and acts like nothing's happened. And if I didn't say anything, if I wasn't boundaried where I'm like, hey, I really want to finish that discussion before I'm physically close with you.
I think
if I could say that, then he would just move forward and we'd keep doing that. And I'm like,
your compassion absolutely should not lead to you not saying anything. So you have compassion for him, understand his struggle to connect to you. Be as safe as you can for you to say, I get why this is so hard for you, and I need this connection at the same time. I love you. I see you as the man that you really are, that you don't see. I can absolutely see that, and I want that man, and I'm fighting for you, and I'll continue to fight for you. Rather than just kind of, I'm disappointed. This isn't enough. This isn't, do you see what I'm saying? And it seems like that's what you have been doing, Janelle, but I would just encourage you to continue to reaffirm that you want him because you see the real him, right? So, any other last things, questions?
I don't know. I'm like, as far as healing, like the deep childhood stuff, I don't know what kind of therapy has been best for that. Like I'm
assuming you've done EMDR?
Yeah, ART.
ART? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. With the guy that was on your podcast.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What's his face?
Cameron. Yeah.
Was it helpful for you, Dave?
I think it does help. But it's pretty short, because I can put it somewhere. So it's not, it's not sustainable for me.
A daily act of courage against that shame is what you need. So like, in your journal every night, like, this is what I did that I stepped in that really uncomfortable space of acting worthy, of acting as if I am seen and I'm not going to get abandoned.
This is the way I confronted my fear today.
Yeah,
I set a boundary with my wife.
Yeah. It's every day. Like, and then maybe you make a list of all the ways that you acted weak. Like, this is, so tomorrow I have a chance to do the opposite. From those
as long as that list is created from a place of, I'm doing this
self-reflection,
not just to like, oh, I'm going to beat myself up today.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. You guys, thank you for coming on.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Appreciate your willingness to come and share. So thank you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
For any of our listeners who are relating to this, which I know there are several, we would love to hear your feedback and your continued questions, and maybe a review or something to throw out to Dave and Janelle as well. So you guys have an awesome week.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.